I'm meteorologist John Marshall on this 6th of September, and this is almost the peak of hurricane season. And folks, we are dealing with a major, possibly catastrophic Category 5 hurricane, Irma, with winds of 185 miles an hour as of the latest advisory. Again, this streaming live will be done, obviously, in the morning, this Wednesday morning. So we're looking at this hurricane, folks. It is the second strongest hurricane now in the Atlantic Basin with winds. It has winds of 185 miles an hour. That ties Gilbert in 1988, Wilma, and the Great Labor Day hurricane of 1935. Only Hurricane Allen, back in 1980, had winds of over 185. Back then, was winds of 190. No matter what the difference in 5 to 10 mile an hour winds are, this storm is like a buzzsaw churning through the extreme northeastern Caribbean islands. It has an eye that is in diameter of about 20 to 25 miles and hurricane force winds that extend out from the center of about 50 miles. The storm is maintaining its strength. It's been at this level with this intense wind for about 12 hours. Now, it went over the island of Antigua and Barbuda. Okay, that's actually the pronunciation of those two islands. I've been down there, and they're absolutely gorgeous. It went over the island of Barbuda, which is right there. When that eye went over that island, the winds sustained were at 119 miles an hour with a gust to 155. A gust to 155 miles an hour on that small little island that is about no wider than a mile and a half. The storm continues to trek to the west-northwest. It is approaching St. Martin in the northeastern Caribbean as we speak. Anguilla, you are getting slammed right now. Both of those islands are getting slammed. You could see the central dense overcast in this storm. Folks, this is a classic textbook hurricane. And here is the island of Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, just to the west. So we're going to watch this thing. There has been some changes in the guidance that we look at 3 to 5 days out. But before we get to that, I'm going to show you the radar out of the northeastern Caribbean. Here is Barbuda. Again, the storm went right over that island, and it is approaching St. Martin and Anguilla. There is the donut. This small island is in the eye. You can see the stars right now because this taping, well, it's still a little bit dark out there. The sun hasn't risen yet. Huge, huge storm, folks. Again, tracking to the west-northwest. Godspeed to the people in those islands. Here are the beginning, as you can see, of the British Virgin Islands. Tortola, Virgin Gorda. So this storm is going to move to the west-northwest at about 15 to 16 miles an hour over the next several hours. Again, they're getting raked over the northeastern Leeward Islands as we speak. So, what do we have in store for warnings and watches? A plethora of hurricane warnings from the Antigua, Barbuda area around to St. Martin, Anguilla, Puerto Rico under a hurricane warning. Will that island get a direct hit? It's too early to say, but listen, with the storm of that magnitude, you need to be under hurricane warning with the proximity of that storm being so close to the island of Puerto Rico. Even farther to the west, from Punta Cana, you know that resort, the northern Dominican Republic under hurricane warnings, now the Turks and Caicos a hurricane warning, the Bahamas, the Central Bahamas, and Cuba now under hurricane watches. The storm continues to move in that area. Winds, when you have a hurricane warning, that means you should expect hurricane conditions within 36 hours of the storm approaching your area. So let's get into this now. The hurricane track, the National Hurricane Center track, and we go by them, they're the experts in these tropical systems, takes the storm, like we've been saying, and they've been saying the last couple of days, either skirting the north coast of the islands or just to the north of that. Thursday into Friday, the Bahamas doesn't look good for the Turks and Caicos right now. All the track is just very concise. The cone of uncertainty now goes out in time. You can see how the cone spreads out. The margin of error of where this storm will track in 4 to 5 days is pretty high. Listen, this is meteorology. I mean, things change immediately. The atmosphere is fluid. So we're trying to grasp what's going to happen here. But let's say by Sunday early morning, 2 o'clock or just after midnight Sunday morning, still a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 145, 50 miles an hour, somewhere south of the Florida tip. This is the exact track of the storm. Again, but do not concentrate on that exact track because it can be either side. As we spread out in time, the cone widens as you see, and then they take it somewhere in the vicinity of Florida. Now, there is a high-pressure system that is over the Atlantic that has been nudging Irma to the west-northwest. That high is eventually going to weaken a bit and allow an area of weak low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere to grab the storm. Okay? That will shift it to the north, poleward. Question is, when does that turn happen? Is it east of Florida? Just to the south of Miami and the beginning of the chain of the Keys? Or to the west? The latest computer guidance, and I'm going to show you the European model. You know, the European model is one of the models. The GFS is another model. All of the models, folks, have shifted to the east. Just telling you like I see it, okay? So let's go to the European spaghetti plots right now, and you will see that, yes, the track does come up through the northern tier of, let's say, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, into the southeastern portion of the Bahamas. Florida you can't even see because basically the spaghetti model of the European has 20 to 25 tracks, okay? Look at this all. It has shifted farther to the east, up through the coast of Florida. Does it spare Florida, folks? It's too early to say. In Florida, and I know a lot of people in the New York City tri-state area have homes down there. Some people are still down there. Just be prepared. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. But I'm just telling you like I see it. The latest computer guidance suggests that upper level low just may capture it enough to turn it, but the high may move out just enough. So it has a little bit of a weakness to follow up through Florida, just east of Florida, or just west of Florida. Here is the track of the hurricane models. Okay? Again, still called the spaghetti tracks. It's like somebody threw a bunch of spaghetti there. But it's a serious model that we do use. Takes the storm up through the Caribbean. Out of the Caribbean and north of the islands. If it skims the island of Hispaniola, that is a mountainous region, and those storms tend to rip apart when they reach those mountainous regions because hurricanes love bathtub-like water. And folks, it is like bathtub-like water in this region, this track. The ocean water temperatures are between 84 and 90 degrees the whole way through. That is just adding fuel. But look at the track. Concise, spreading apart. But a lot of them now are east of Florida. I'm not saying it's a possibility or not. It still may hit Florida, but all of the latest computer guidance suggests that easterly track with the high moving offshore. That was like a roadblock for going out to sea. But in 4 or 5 days, it looks like it's going to move offshore and allow for that little area of weakness, like a little bit of a bowling alley. Where does that turn happen? It's anybody's guess, but obviously there's still a possibility that it will hit somewhere in Florida. The chances have increased for a hit over the southeastern portion of the United States. Could it affect our weather in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast? It's a possibility. What will that storm be like? How strong will it be? Unknown answers to those questions. You need to prepare now, all through Florida and up and down the southeast and mid-Atlantic coast, folks. Again, we see the information. They are trends. It is not etched in stone, this track. I know there's a lot of anxious people out there, and I understand that. This is a monster. This storm has winds of 185 miles an hour. That island of Barbuda had a gust of 155. There's the track. Now, let's take a look at our forecast, and we're going to show you the 5-day. And for today, unfortunately, you need your umbrella. On and off showers in New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut area, the New York City tri-state area, 72 degrees. Umbrellas are needed today, on and off. Okay, not going to pour all day. It will break. Thursday, morning showers, afternoon sun, 73. Lots of kids going back to school. At least it will be cool. What are you going to do? They're not going to be sweating during their first few days of school. Friday will be beautiful. Abundant sunshine. High pressure is going to sit over the northeastern part of the country and just give us some gorgeous weather into the weekend. Then what happens? Well, just stay tuned to the forecast. Again, we're going to continue to track this monster, Hurricane Irma, the tie for the second strongest storm in the Atlantic Basin since National Hurricane Center has been keeping records, which goes back to who knows when. Okay, folks, we're tracking this thing. Again, devastating blow to the northeastern islands of the Caribbean right now. You can always get an updated forecast at www.johnmarshallweather.com, and I will update you as conditions warrant. I will try to answer all your questions that you're giving to me right now, and I'm here for you guys. You know my motto, no nonsense, no hype. Have a great day, and kids going back to school, you have a great school day. Take care.